I'm completely
Sure.
for it, whichever vehicle we decide, but I'm not sure the PTP needs to be the vehicle because the trail's there. You've laid it out. You've put temporary markings. I think if the trail committee all is in favor, or at least passes a motion, we just need to have Public Works go out and do it, put out the markers, or have somebody from our group do it, something like that. But I don't think it needs to be in the trails plan because it's going to be marked complete the minute it goes in almost. That's just my
Well,
2 cents.
that's fine by me. I would just like to see the trail adopted, put on our maps, adopted by the township, and get these get the marking and the mapping and the maintenance done.
Yeah,
So
100%
I
for that.
really don't care one way or the other. My only concern would be, and please help me with this, because as I've been thinking about the PTP, once we approve this PTP, are those the only trails that we will be able to adopt in the future?
No, the PTP is just an indication of what our targeted priorities are over the next 10 years. If something else that wasn't already considered or not 10 years, I don't know if it's 5 years or 10 years, however often they redo the township master plan, right? This is basically our long-term or our targeted wish list for the things we plan to work on and want to see happen during the time that the master plan is in place. So,
Sure. Well, like I say, fine by me. It didn't seem to me like we were getting anything done beforehand with respect to this. And my thought was, if we put it in the PTP, maybe we can, argue to get things happening. I don't care. And I guess the other question is, would you want to include it on the PTP plan, since the PTP, in fact, will be some sort of record of trail adoptions?
No, the PTP again is a plan for our future intentions. I mean, if we make a motion, we could do it tonight. If we made a motion that we believe, I don't think we need council or open space. I
think we do.
You do?
I don't know about open space, but council's got to say, yes, we want DPW to maintain this trail.
So did council have to do that for all the other trails that currently exist in Griggstown and everywhere else? I don't recall ever doing that in the last 15 years.
The manager would know what the rules are on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess I'm getting a little more comfortable with asking that it be included on the PTP just as a matter of record, so we can move the process forward.
I'm going to suggest, guys, we're going to move ahead with the trail, Chuck. I agree. We can just leave it now on the draft of the PTP. If Tara comes back and we get it done before the PTP goes to print, then we don't need to include it. So, but I think we definitely all are in agreement that we want this trail to happen. So as a matter of just figuring out the protocol, and Mayor Kramer, you're saying that we might need to get some type of approval, whether it be through the PTP or just in general, we'll have to figure that out too.
This body could, if it wants, make a resolution that it immediately be adopted as a trail. And I just don't know the procedure.
Okay. Chuck, do you want to make a motion?
Could I move that the Trails Committee resolves that the Simonson Brook Trail, as outlined in the PTP, be adopted?
So moved.
I would only suggest amending it to, again, I know I'm being picky, but I wouldn't say it's not in the PTP yet, right? This is just your document drafting it. I would just say that we resolve to have the Simonson Brook Trail be immediately recognized as an official trail per the diagram that you've provided and the temporary marking that exists.
Okay, so yeah, I'm moving that the Simonson Brook Trail, I'm typing this as I go, be adopted as part of the Franklin Township trail system.
Okay.
As outlined.
I would add the keyword immediately that the mayor mentioned.
As outlined in the
Trail proposal?
PTP proposal.
Or just trail, how about just trail proposal?
In the proposal. Okay. So I saw move.
Did
You want
you
to
get
put
the word
immediately on the
immediately in
end?
there?
I did. I moved that the Simonson Brook Trail be adopted as part of the Franklin Township trail system immediately. As outlined in the proposal, I can take out those words if you like.
No, sounds good to me. I second it.
All right. Everyone, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You should always ask if there's any
Anyone
opposed or
abstain or
abstain.
opposed? Okay. All right, the motion carries.
So let me just clarify, does this mean that this is not part of the plan? What we just voted on is not, it's not going to be mentioned in the plan at all?
So Anne Marie, I'm proposing that if when we talk with Tara and if we can get action on it, immediately, then it doesn't need to be in the plan. If it's going to be a longer term project, so we realize that it's not going to happen that quickly, then we get it in the plan to give it the weight maybe it needs. That's what I'm suggesting. Does that sound okay to you guys?
Yeah, I just don't want it to get lost. I just want to make sure that it has a place in history.
Again,
Well, it shouldn't get lost. It's a
Michael,
motion that just passed in, officially as part of the Trails Committee business. So I guess the only real question is, does it now require, and this is a question for the township manager, does this now require council or open space committee to approve it, or was that sufficient? In the past, I don't recall any past votes in my time on the committee
No.
where we needed that for other trails to be included, but that's just my past recollection. Now, we haven't done a lot of new trails in the last 15 years either, but there it is.
Okay.
okay, so item number 2, that in my proposal, I would like the committee to approve a proposed building a 0.1 acre permeable gravel parking area near the trail entrance on the north side on Bennett's Lane on the north trail entrance of Negri Napodi. I've given GPS coordinates for the approximate corner of this lot. This would be a 0.1 acre lot. For comparison, the Skillman's Lane lot of Negri Napodi is 0.16 acres, depending on how you measure it. The Griggstown lot is approximately 0.16 acres. The Bunker Hill lot is approximately 0.06 acres. So this is not the largest lot, but I actually go into this trailhead quite frequently, actually, and I park on the street, have to park on the street when I do this. The road is a little wider in that area, but I've actually talked to neighbors in the area, and neighbors are like all neighbors. They get concerned about a car they don't know that's being parked on the street. It seems to me like if we were to actually sponsor trail walks starting at that area, we would actually need some more parking space than what we have before. So the construction of the lot would involve removing a very small patch of red cedar. In the original plan I sent to Tara, I said invasive red cedar. Diana got all over me, but our ecologist colleagues wouldn't call this invasive. It's a matter of terminology. It's red cedar that came in as in the process of biological succession when that field, when that area was let go from being an agricultural field. But these are young cedar trees, and we have an abundant set of them in this particular trail system. That's a nice area of the trails. It's actually shaded in the summer, and it actually supports, it's a different kind of habitat that supports a different set of wildlife that we would actually find in the grasslands. So I would, I don't know, is it appropriate, should I move that this parking lot be incorporated into the trails plan for consideration?
Yeah, I think it's totally appropriate because that's not going to happen immediately. Like the other stuff, half the work's already done. So for the other trail, I mean, but this case, right, this is just a proposal. So I think it's perfectly appropriate if everybody wants it and we so move that it would be appropriate to be included in the PTP.
Sure.
Well, I hope that makes sense as to why to put it in here and why not to put it in here.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we
My
have
one question is there a trail through this? I guess this is called.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice
Yeah,
trail, and
yes.
it's actually mowed by Public Works. Part of the trail is
Does it go
actually,
in the woods, or does it actually go along the field edge still?
no, it
Oh,
goes
it's
into the
woods.
woods. It loops around through the woods. It one opening opens onto the edge around Melba Batten's field, which she is trying to maintain as sort of a wildlife habitat. And that part of the trail goes around the perimeter of the woods. But the main section of the trail goes right through the center of the wooded area and gets you into the back corner of Negri Napodi, which is, you know, actually a bit easier access, and also a very nice habitat in terms of a wooded field border, which is
Okay. Google Maps shows it. It calls it a Lincoln Equities acquisition. So this must have been a later attachment to what was originally acquired for Negri because it's not considered the same named property. Interesting.
I think it actually is. I think you're looking at the lot next to it, Mark. This is actually a part of Negri Napodi grasslands.
Well,
Township property.
Google may have it labeled wrong, but
Yeah.
I wasn't aware, and I've never walked on any part of Negri that went all the way out to Bennett's Lane. This was a new one on me.
Oh.
That's why I was
Oh
asking.
yeah, there's
You ought
a
to do it.
there's a
It's a
trailhead
nice
there.
setting.
It's a nice trail.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear it.
So Chuck, was that a motion you made?
I did make a motion. Is there a second? Can we vote?
Second,
Okay, Anne Marie seconds. Okay, all in favor of adding this number 2, item 2, to the Pathways to Trails plan?
Aye.
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 Anybody abstain or opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Chuck, before you go on any further, are you going to list in there any land we have yet to acquire?
Actually, Phil, I hadn't even, I've thought about it, but in fact, we don't know what lands, you know, one of our problems is we don't know what lands are in consideration for acquisition.
Right, so
Because
I wouldn't want to name such a land because then that's something for executive session. We don't release the lands we're interested in. So, okay.
Oh, no, I see what you mean, Phil. No, this is actually, this is land that we currently own as open space,
Good.
And use.
Okay, great.
and we use it. It's
Yeah, so I think Chuck's point is we actually do use this, and we're parking at the trailhead on Bennett's Lane, and he's proposing to add something to make it safer
Yep.
and to allow more people to access it.
Completely
Yeah.
agree. Just
If Google Maps is right, which may or may not be because they didn't have it named correctly, although maybe it is and we just didn't know it. But the township open space contiguously from the Negri Napodi goes into this quote unquote Lincoln Equities acquisition area and goes and abuts Bennett's Lane. So it looks like it is all township space on
Yep.
Google Maps.
Great.
Yeah. And if you go to the township interactive maps, you will see that.
Is it correct to say that where you're proposing the parking is pretty close to the intersection of Bennett's Lane and Napodi Place?
It is. It's. I measured it, but I'm not. My memory is not
Looking
that
at
good.
your looking at your
I would
picture,
say,
that's
I would
where it
say
looks
maybe
like.
100 feet. The corner, the northwest corner is just a few feet from the trailhead. There is a wet area there which is indicated on some of our. I think it's actually indicated on the township interactive maps. You will see that there's a wetland designation close by. This is not part of that wetland area that's designated on the map.
Okay.
Uh,
Chuck, there's a third proposal you have as well?
I have two more that I included. The third one was one that actually it's Tom Lewis brought up, and I feel like we didn't pay enough attention to it, so I just included a map about Tom's original proposal was to create a cross-country trail path from the high school to Middlebush Park. And the first part of it would simply be the trail running down Elizabeth Avenue, as I understand it. Tom, are you with us still?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah. Am I correct that you were proposing that it cross over at Weston Canal Road?
Well, Weston Road, probably.
I'm sorry, Weston Road. Yeah. This one.
Western.
Tom, do you have the map? Do you have the map?
Chuck emailed it yesterday or earlier.
I guess my question to Tom would be, my understanding was you were looking for us to more formally include the sort of boundary around Middlebush Park, right? There was a trail there, right?
There were several options that were available. Again, without knowing what resources I had to work with. I mean, there was very short connecting trails, for lack of a better term, that would connect from Middlebush Park, for example, to the DPW property in the back. There were several different things. The whole goal was to be able to run a 5,000 meter race, basically with two loops. So you need about a mile and a half loop, for lack of a better term. I would be more comfortable if unless this has to be done tonight. I could go and pull up my versions, which I have saved, and tell you exactly what's needed. I think the connection with the high school was just that, making sure that there was a safe corridor, utilizing a bike path, utilizing a sidewalk. A lot of it's already done. When they put in the development on Weston Road, then a lot of that. But there was like a part that needed to be addressed at the intersection of Elizabeth Avenue, and then I believe the other one, that was really all that was needed. And there was also a section on
Cedar Grove Lane.
Yeah, not Cedar Grove, but on Weston.
Weston
Down
Road.
towards, again, most of it, and 90% was done in sidewalks, and the sidewalks just ended. And then you've got, you got a very narrow road, which is straight and flat, and people drive way too fast, and it becomes a safety issue.
Yeah, Tom, I was trying to look at maps to try to figure this out, and it seems to me like we have open space property once you get off Weston Avenue, you have to cross Cedar Grove Lane. And then I think you have to run a path through some type of open space property between Cedar Grove Lane and the township, what is it, Charles Street or
Mhm.
area in there. And I just wasn't sure what it was, but it looks like there's properties there, township properties there.
Here's what I'm going to do, Chuck. Tomorrow I'm going to go and actually drive it, and we'll come up with it, and we'll send out to Kara to send to everybody a rough diagram of that particular, because it's not much. It's just a couple pieces that would more for safety issue, because once you get past Wilson, you cut up through there is a path that brings you up to the park. But like I said, it's too convoluted. It's too confusing to describe. It'll just take me a little time to put it all together and send that out with what's needed. And again, if it could be done, that would be great. But again, only because it would give the kids and the coaches a whole nother avenue to get over there. And I'm sure the coaches are concerned with the couple spots, where there is no sidewalk. There's, that the kids are funneled out back into the street. And, like I said, both those streets are very straight and very flat, and people have a tendency to drive way too fast.
Hey, Tom, I just want to have a question. I'm trying to remember, are they already going to Middlebush Park for a reason?
No, they're not going. The last time I spoke to the coaches, they weren't going to Middlebush Park. And again, my understanding was because there was no easy, direct way to go. That was one of them.
But your point of this path is so they can get to Middlebush Park?
Correct. Yeah, because there's only a couple sections. If I measured it, it may only be 100 feet that is needed to complete the sidewalk between Elizabeth Avenue, which has got a bike path on it. So that is already taken care of. But then you get up to Weston, you got to make the left at the light, and it's just there's that one little bottleneck before the daycare place.
But you're wanting it. You're wanting to be a place for them to be able to train at
Yes,
Middlebush Park.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just like looking at this map that Chuck has, and I'm looking how close it is to Colonial Park and how close it is to like the towpath. And I was just wondering, I was like, oh, I never even thought about those as possibilities for the cross country team too.
Well,
I was thinking the exact same thing, Vanessa. I was wondering, if they could just go up Elizabeth to Colonial Park.
Oh, actually,
They've got good space there.
Other high schools utilize Colonial Park for their cross-country courses. So there is that has already been done or being done. My thought was to instead is if the right foundation work went into Middlebush Park, you could have a cross-country only venue that would be better than basically, or would be equal what anything that was already in the state. That was my intention. That was my goal all along. The advantages of Middlebush Park is you've got parking. You've got I used to have the count a number of parking spaces over there. You've got you could lay out a course that would be very, very fan friendly for people watching. I know the one layout that I had, the coaches could very easily get the half mile, the mile, and the 1.5 mile mark, all within, 100 feet or so of each other. So and I don't need to spend too much time into the relevance and the importance of that, but yeah, but what I talked about was finishing what was needed from the high school to get to Middle Bush Park, more for safety reasons, and because it's very it's like I said, it's probably 90+% done already, but the two bottlenecks do become, safety concerns.
But Tom, the actual 5K races that you're talking about, they would actually happen all within Middle Bush Park, not on the
Correct.
road.
That is correct. That would be
Okay.
2 loops. And there is precedent to doing loops. It's not ideal, but
Yeah.
Again, you work with what you got.
So I support this, but I guess, as a former Franklin High School cross country captain, I definitely would love, I think it would be great for us to like even consider possible other like legitimate 5K trails on our other trails to really show off. I mean, I feel like you go to 100 Central, you go to Deer Path Park, you go to these other places, and these cross country races are on these great trails. Why not have that opportunity for our cross country runners? I think it's great to have it at the park you're suggesting, but maybe we could also consider helping have a couple more legitimate 5K trails on other Franklin Township trails.
I couldn't agree more. And again, just so you know, there was and I don't know if they've amended this, but Franklin stopped having home cross country races. There's a lot there, but last time, that's what infuriated me. You've got parents that have to go to, as you said, either Hunterdon Central or out to Hillsborough or the one up in Burnett Township.
Yeah.
I mean, watch their kids run. I mean, to me, we owe it to the town, and a lot of this was when I was on the school board. So I take personal ownership. We owe the kids and their family the same respect that other schools get, but.
No, I think I agree, Tom, and thank you so much for bringing this to us, and Chuck, thank you for mapping this out and really reminding us of the importance of it.
Yeah. Well, please keep in mind that what I drew was sort of a crude map, because I was really sort of confused about particularly that connection from Cedar Grove Lane to Middle Bush Park, but I have the feeling that more knowledgeable people can work through that, and I think it's a great idea. Tom, thanks for bringing this up.
See, again, to me, if I put on my coach's hat for just a minute, if Middle Bush Park is my home course, my kids are going to know every inch of that park. We're going to have, and it's going to end up being a home field advantage, which, and again, it's local. I mean, not for nothing, but until they move, the mayor could walk from his office to catch a cross country race. I mean, that's how close it is. But again, going back, there are two. I think, Chuck, the best thing for me to do would be to break it down into 2 parts. What's needed at Middle Bush Park to make that a 2-loop 5K race course, and then what's needed, the filling in the missing pieces from the high school on Elizabeth Avenue to getting into the park. And it's not a lot. And I'll take pictures and I'll show you on a map what's needed. And like I said, I'll get that done either tomorrow or no later than Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds great to me. Thanks.
So, what should the motion? What do we want to?
I don't think there's any motion. I don't think that there is a motion, right? I think this is going to be, right, number 3 is going to be deferred until Tom comes back with a more clear proposal. I mean, I like the spirit of it. I'm totally okay with the spirit of it. It sounds like it needs a little bit more fleshing out for the details.
Got it. Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah,
Um,
as do I. It's not ready yet.
Okay, not ready for prime time, says Tom.
and
Not
Tom,
ready.
I think it would be great for us to also like consider some other spots as well. I mean, if that's something you're interested in considering. Just to, because I agree, it's nice to have that, but I also think there's some even nicer trails that we could use too.
And see, the big, just so you know that in looking at that, the big deterrent is the parking. It is to find a venue where you can park 300 cars. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
But the Colonial Park certainly could do that as well.
correct.
Um,
But again, Colonial Park is a county park, Middlebush Park is our own park. So there are other.
I know, but I want to impress those kids coming from other towns too.
Oh, no, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you. Look, you know,
But it being our own park has a major advantage in scheduling and
Correct.
That's very,
time.
very true. That's very true.
and you've got a lot of.
I want both. I just want both.
And again, you've got the snack bar over there. You've got, you've got a lot of
Yeah.
accessory items which could also become revenue generating for the school, for the team, for the, however you want to do.
All right.
do
You've
that.
sold me. You've sold me. I got it.
I'm not saying,
Yeah, I'm not a cross country runner. I'm not a runner, but I've thought that, it seems to me like our Greekstown Grasslands would be another nice venue, and maybe even Negri, and in terms of cross country distances. And Greekstown, for example, not only do you have trails that run through the quote grassland, but you would have trails that run through woodland as well, which is a mix of terrain, which I suspect is that what cross country runners really
all about. Well, and there was also, I saw a video or pictures that you actually go through streams. Now, if you're a purist, if you're a historian of the sport, then you know that it goes back where runners used to practice bounding over fences, split rail fences, running through creeks. So, but anyway, I don't. That's a discussion for another time. And
All right.
but going back,
Sure.
I will dig out my what I had for Middlebush Park, because there was a couple different one or two things that were needed, not major by any stretch of the imagination, but then also separating that so it'll be a 1 and a 1A, or an A and a B. So
So we'll make sure it's on the agenda for our next meeting.
yeah, yes, definitely. And
Okay.
thank you.
Let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Item 4.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, number 4 is a plan that I've been thinking about and actually talking about a bit for some time. That it's a much more complicated issue, but it involves the south end of the township and involves both county property and township property in that area, and what I was proposing was to see if we could work with the county to create a system of trails through this incredible wooded area down there, and the trail would actually go back and forth between township and county open space in doing so, and I would foresee 2 entrances. One trailhead would be on Route 518. Actually, probably the best place for the trailhead would actually be this small parking lot on county property that is next to the recently acquired Cully property. And the trail, what I have drawn on this map is just it's totally hypothetical. We really would have to go out, look at the area, and find the optimal places to place this trail. But the idea would be to place a loop trail in here, trailhead on 518 at that parking lot. The other trailhead would be on Old Georgetown Road. Old Georgetown Road. Actually, that trailhead is that I proposed is the lot next to Councilman Chase's house.
I'm in a meeting.
And I have talked to Ted about this. I actually talked to him yesterday about it. He's very enthusiastic about this idea, and that trailhead, if we go from that point, trailhead at that point, you could cross the road, and then there's another series that would connect with another series of trails in county open space, which is already there, which I've gone out and walked with Ted on several occasions. It's a nice area. It's an area that's would sort of fill out, the range of trails through our township area. I would foresee, probably not in my lifetime or in my, but it would actually be a nice site, perhaps for an environmental center, environmental education center there, because of just the habitats that it encompasses. So basically, this is just a hypothetical trail path. I could draw a number of other paths through there, but quite frankly, it's not worth drawing them until we go out and actually see what's there. For example, you can see down at the bottom of the bottom curve of the map right down there. That's a very steep slope, if not cliffs, in that area. And in fact, the trail, as I'm sure Vanessa, our trail builder Vanessa knows, we would have to zigzag trails back and forth up the cliffs in that area. But until we can go out and look at it, I don't think we can do more than just simply put a hypothetical line here, line diagram here. But I would like this to be included in the Pathways and Trails plan. I think it's comparable actually to items that are in the Trails plan now that we propose that we're still working on with trails that connect through 6 Mile Run Park.
Chuck, does this include the newly acquired property at 51 Georgetown, Franklin Town?
Yes, that's the Cully property. And the Cully property, let me see. I have more maps. I actually got into.
No, I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't you already had that on your radar when you were mapping that out.
Yes, it is. And in fact, the line that I drew, I don't know, that's probably, if you look at the right-hand side of the line going up, that's actually, I ran it through county space, but a few feet over is actually the wooded field edge on the Cully property. So I mean, you can actually run that part of the trail on township property. So I think we have a lot of options there, and like I say, I just think we ought to incorporate it into the PTP, so people will be thinking about it in the future, and we need to go out and maybe make a more, maybe even a more precise proposal.
Okay.
Once we survey it. So I would move that this particular plan be adopted into the Pathways and Trails plan, the new Pathways and Trails plan.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay, so moved. This is exciting to look at. Like, it's exciting to see like a loop, exciting to see the elevation, and just kind of really using that space. I'm excited about that.
there's a lot of different ecosystems in that area too as well. So I think it would be valuable in terms of environmental educational purposes
Okay.
as well as recreational purposes.
Yeah, I goofed around with Google Maps a little bit, and you can do a measured distance, and I tried to sort of mimic what Chuck had drawn in there just to get an idea of distance. And you can create just following kind of Chuck's rough outline, I came up with a 2-mile loop, which is pretty nice. That's a pretty good
Nice.
length of trail for
Yeah.
something in town. That's nice with elevation and everything else.
Actually, I've also made maps. I used the township interactive map and drew diagrams trying to figure out what was county property and township property. Would you like for me to just send these to everyone so you can sort of get a better idea about the political work that we would probably be going through? But I would be hoping that we could get a lot of intergovernmental cooperation on this. And
Great. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've gone over 4, potential additions to our Pathways to Trails, or just additional trails progress made in town. We have used up our PTP allotted time. If nobody disagrees, I'd like to move on to the other part of our agenda. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good. Perfect timing. We used pretty much exactly 45 minutes. Nicely done.
Okay, so the new business is update maintenance call. I'm not sure. Tara didn't really speak to me about that. I'm not. Does anybody know what that's referring to? The maintenance call with Carl Hauk?
She does it on a monthly basis and she updates us on things that he's corrected DPW.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Emery.
You're welcome.
So let's skip that for now and then go ahead. The other part that she had was the Negri burn, so we'll have to wait to hear more details about that from Tara as well. Going on to old business, National Trails Day. Before we go to old business, Chuck, you and I had been talking about and we should have I don't know where we could put this in here, but the Firefly hike. So
yes, I was. Yeah, we were talking about it. I think it would be a great idea if we could pull it off. Looks like, as I recall, probably the best date would probably be July 10th. I'm not sure that Duke Farms is actually doing their Firefly Walk this year. So we might, in fact, get even bigger crowds than we did last time. We had a great turnout last time, and I think a great program. I did look to see whether or not we could include some astronomy observations in it, but it turns out that Saturn and Jupiter are just coming up a bit too late. I don't think it would be useful to have incorporated astronomy night along with the Firefly Walk with that. But
hey, Chuck, did you have a chance to look at what date you thought would make the most sense for the Fireflies this year?
I was thinking July 10th. Let me just make sure
Okay,
I got
that was the
got it
date I
right.
remember. Okay.
We did it last time. It was on July 14th, and we were just a little beyond the peak at that point. Probably the July 4th weekend would be better, but I have a feeling that would not be a good idea.
Right.
And
Hey, Chuck, we're looking at your keyboard now instead of your much more handsome face, just to let you know.
oh, well, you don't like my keyboard, huh?
Well, your keyboard's nice, but it's better to say. There you go.
Okay, so anyway, so I guess to make it summarize that real quick, looking to do a trails led Firefly hike on Saturday, July 10th.
At which location?
We were talking about doing it in the John Clyde Griggstown grasslands.
Nifty. And so what time would we be thinking would be an appropriate time?
I would do it the same time we did last time, Chuck. Do you remember what that was?
I had the flyer pulled up on my screen, and it said,
I would think it would be like 7, because then, I mean, what are we looking at? Like an 8 o'clock sunset, maybe? I can check that. You want to be close to sunset, but you want a little before, right? So
last year we had it at 7 p.m. Actually, the fireflies start coming out before sunset, and actually it's not a bad idea to have a little bit of light there so kids can see what fireflies look like. It was last year. I got the flyer up. It was 7 to 9 last year.
8:30 p.m. is sunset on Saturday, July 10th. So
Yes.
so
Yeah, we had 7 to 9.
All right.
okay. Is an hour and a half before sunset sufficient?
Yeah, it worked really well last time.
Okay.
So I
Just
would,
checking.
yeah.
I will put it on my calendar and make every effort to join you.
Great.
Great.
It worked out so wonderful last year, and the astronomy was wonderful last year. I know that Saturn and Jupiter won't be in play, but maybe we could just look at the moon. Because everyone loved that part. I mean, that
Or
was just,
constellations.
I would be happy to bring scopes out, and actually there are some other people that I'm associated with Canal Watch who would be happy to bring their scopes out as well. If you thought that would be a good thing. I mean, it's the only thing is, and I know Diana's had a concern about this, that one of the is the COVID issue. And one of the things about kids like to look through scopes.
Mm.
One of the big problems, though, is and we actually had ladders next to the telescope so they could stand up and look through it. But the impulse of every kid is to grab the eyepiece with both hands. And I just don't know how that would play with respect to any COVID concerns that we might have.
Well, I'm no medical expert, but my understanding is the CDC guidance regarding contact transfer via surfaces, that risk is substantially lower than they originally believed, and that the primary concern is still the inhalation route.
Right. You are correct.
Not to say that I can probably pick up a bunch of disinfecting wipes and we can wipe between kids, but I mean, I think
I would be happy to stand there and clean eyepieces. One thing you should know is that one of the primary infection routes for COVID is through your tear ducts, and so that is something one might want to think about, but I don't know.
well, maybe we can skip the telescopes and just do things like, because there's like a star finder constellation app on a lot of smartphones you can do, where you point your smartphone up at the sky, and via the camera and the directions inside the phone, like it figures out which way you're pointing and then tells you what constellations you can see in that direction. So maybe we just do stuff like that. It doesn't involve kids putting their eye up to anything.
In the twilight, the constellations don't come out as quickly. It's better to have to look at constellations later in the night. The thing is that last year Saturn and Jupiter were just coming up over the horizon in that southwesterly direction. This year it's going to be a few weeks later. And in fact, as far as that goes, if you would like to maybe schedule an astronomy event later in the summer when these planets are coming up out there, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
We can look at our charts and figure out what an optimal time would be. I know that there in fact are astronomy clubs that once a year actually apply to go out to Griggstown and have that sort of event.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing that this year or not.
Okay.
One thing more from last year, didn't we have to get special permission for being there after dusk? And how did we I remember that was some kind of an issue. We had to secure that right or something.
I'm not sure
well,
about that.
The
We'll run it by
township,
Tara.
township regulations are that you're supposed to be out of there after sunset, or a half an hour after sunset. I don't remember.
I would
But,
think that if we just make sure, I mean, I guess if we can communicate this to Tara,
Yeah.
maybe just an email to her, that she can notify DPW and like the township manager or the police department, because really it's just the police department who might show up if we hadn't let them know ahead of time that there's a bunch of us going to be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did
I
mention to
agree.
Tara about us potentially doing this, and she was definitely in support of it. So we can just ask her to reach out on our behalf.
Somebody just has to remember to email her the details.
Hmm. So national.
Actually, should we make this a joint thing with Parks and Recreation again?
Not if they're going to charge. I'm not a fan of that.
Well, they didn't charge for our National Trails Day hike, did they?
No.
So yeah, so Mark, like I definitely feel like moving on to the next thing on our agenda, which is also touches upon this, the National Trails Day hike. It was great to have the partnership with Parks and Recreation. We had about 25 people attend. And it was a really nice group, nice mixed group of ages and backgrounds. And so, Chuck, I really appreciate you, bridging that and making that happen. And I feel like if we can continue to do it with them without them charging, I'm very much in favor of.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I'm 100% behind the idea of cooperating with other township groups. Totally love the idea. I just don't love the idea of charging for a walk. I mean, maybe because none of us are getting that, right? I mean, right. That's not, and nor should we. I mean, we're doing this as a volunteer. I mean, I know they pay Autobahn, and that's slightly different. But for stuff that's just township sponsored, I guess I would. I mean, it's asking a lot. People are putting a lot of time in there. Chuck and Vanessa, you guys have put a ton of time in there. But I don't think we'd have ever looked to take payment for it. So I don't know. I think it would discourage people, right? I just think that we've done lots of things in the past without charging, and it seems like not the direction I personally would.
Well, I don't think we're talking about charging, Mark. I don't think that's not an option.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think we are. I'm just concerned, that if anything we do, since it seems like some of the other walks that they wanted to do, they wanted to charge for.
Well,
that didn't sit well with me.
Parks and Rec charge. I actually did a couple of walks with Parks and Rec last fall, and they charged $5 per family, and their reasoning was that this is a way that you could ensure people are more likely to show up if they pay a small amount of money to do so, and I agree with that. We had two families. I mean, we were doing COVID, distancing and masks and the whole business, and family pods stayed apart from each other and the whole business. But that actually worked. And I guess the thing is that even if you charged a dollar, it would. But see, part of the problem is we don't know how many people are going to come unless you have a registration system. Our township registration system that we've used on the township calendar, I mean, honestly, it does not work. I mean, you can't get people to even sign up, even though you tell them to sign up for it. I actually think that a small charge of, I don't know, even 50 cents would provide some incentive for people showing up after they register and helping us get a little control over the number of people that would show up for these events.
Chuck, can I ask you? Can you clarify for us? So for National Trails Day, did they made an exception for that to not charge? Are they not willing to do that again?
Yes. Well, they made an exception. They normally charge for their events, and they charge.
But did did they make a point of saying that this is the only time they would do that, or was that something that?
No, I don't think they did. And like I say, I think Bo Burgess and Gloria were quite receptive to the idea of not having to charge in that particular case. So I don't think they're going to be.
Because they're not paying, so they're not paying people to lead these hikes. Like, I know Bo came, to ours, but if
That's
had he
right.
not come, that would have been fine too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one paid me when I did these hikes with Parks and Rec
Yeah.
back in October. I mean, it was just simply an incentivizing way of getting people to, first of all, register. And that gives you contact information, so you can in fact
But
tell
Chuck,
people, hey, you send a text saying weather's bad, we're gonna hold cancel it this
So,
day and
Chuck,
hold it the next
I
day.
don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't want to. I think we're all we're in agreement that we want the partnership with Parks and Rec. We want the sign up through Parks and Rec. We would,
Yes.
some of us would prefer there not be a fee. So I don't know
Well,
how other people, I know Mark and I feel we'd rather there not be a fee. I don't know how others feel. I know Chuck, you would like a small fee. You think that might help in some ways. How are others?
I-
feel
I
about
don't
that?
agree that there should be a fee.
So
I
John,
I
you're,
agree there should not be a fee.
okay. You're saying
Well,
no fee.
I think we're coming to a consensus that we should ask them to not charge a fee, and that's fine. I mean, that's
If they had, if they at some point in time show that by charging a fee, like if they can show some data that shows that we've gotten a better response rate and a better registration rate by doing so, I'd love to see it, and I'd change my tune. But I guess I'm not feeling like, did you see, you got a great turnout for National Trails Day with no fee.
we did.
And you got less, it sounds like you got less of a turnout when you charge a fee. So to me, I wonder if I'm not yet convinced that the fee's doing what we want it to do, even though I understand what you're saying about it. And I agree with you. It would be so much better if people would pre-reg and we had a better handle on who's coming. I'm just not sure, is charging the fee achieving that goal? I don't know. I haven't seen anything to prove that. So.
Well,
Okay, so-
I don't want to strongly defend it. I guess my only concern was the Park and Rec came back and just said, well, this is our policy. We can't do it in the future.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong desire to say no, forget it.
Yeah, if we could just
I would
ask.
be okay with a fee charging event, as long as it's a very small amount of money. But I'm fine with asking Park and Rec to not charge it. I mean, we did have a good turnout for National Trails Day, and we did use a registration system. My main issue is I found that using their registration system was far better than what we've done before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know.
And
Sorry.
go ahead.
It sounds good that you use that system. and
Yeah.
You can track it.
Yeah, I mean, it just I from experience, I found that on multiple occasions our own registration system just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's my main concern.
all right. So just in the interest of time, I think we can agree that, Chuck, if you wouldn't mind continuing to kind of be the liaison, to Parks and Rec, and just, if we could see if they'd be willing to do the same thing with us for a July 10th hike. It might be too late at this point. I don't know. I don't know how much lead time they need. I know that on the National Trails Day hike, I know Jim made a point of asking, and Chuck, you may have as well, like ask people like, hey, how'd you hear about this? How I heard this hike, and we know that some people heard from different means, and definitely some saw it when they were signing up for swimming lessons through Parks and Rec, and so they saw it and decided to go ahead and sign up for this hike as well. So just the proximity to other Parks and Rec events is good advertising for us, and we're grateful for them, and I'm sure that they're grateful that we're supporting their cause of exercise and fitness, as well, and getting out into the park. So it's definitely a mutually beneficial partnership.
Yeah. I guess my stance on it is that I want to use the Parks and Rec registration system because that registration system works.
Okay, let's
And,
see
you
it.
know,
Let's do it.
so that's the thing.
Okay.
Let me know if you have any pushback.
I'm sorry?
Let me know if you have any pushback.
I will. Okay, thanks. That would help. Having your support would help in this issue.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, Phil, that Bo Burgess was very excited about working with us. He sees our trails as an extension of our recreational space in the township, and he sees it as a valuable thing to promote.
That's great.
Yeah, so we had a good turnout. So the summarizing National Trail Days hike. Thank you, Chuck and Everett and Jim, and for helping setting everything up, and Anne Marie coming in and closing out the event. But we had a nice crew. And people were asking about, hey, when are you doing more hikes? So it's nice to have this interest, and I think we need to get some more dates on the calendar to
You bet.
lead more hikes this summer.
Great.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. For those of us who couldn't make it, thank you. And I will make every effort to try and make this next Firefly one to help out.
Hey, come on down. We had a great time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'll see who I can rustle up amongst my friends as well to bring people out.
Terrific.
The last thing we have on the agenda is previous grant work and status for the North-South Trail. I don't have anything to share about that. Is there
We have
anything
a
else?
little bit. We discussed Van Cleef extending.
Yeah,
Looks like that's going to happen
really?
Oh.
That's
Hey, great.
very soon.
how is it? Can you just maybe give us a quick idea of like by what mechanism will it happen? Who's pursuing it and who's leading it?
The town is just going to do it.
Wow. Okay. Just going to do it. The council's okay, all behind it, and they're just going to go for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Where can we watch to see progress on that? Where would we be hearing about that?
At a council meeting when we would fund it.
Okay.
It might be buried in some other bond or something, we $1 million for something, and that's, I'm making up numbers, 100,000 of it. I can try to get more details to get back to you guys on it.
That's terrific. I would love to hear more details. And if you need people to participate in the meeting to talk about it and, promote the idea, I'll try and make an effort to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think they're looking at the engineering for that little stream or something that's there. There's some natural obstacle.
Yeah, there's right after where it ends. It ends at one of the side streets, and then on the other side, where it no longer continues, there is a culvert and some sort of a wet, I don't know, we would call it a wetland, or definitely a little swampy area there to deal with.
Yeah. So, all right, I'll find out more.
Wow, that's
Didn't know I was
terrific.
going to be grilled on this.
Who would be?
I didn't know you were going to grill me on this.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, you're
Good.
talking about something that's near and dear to me. This is one I've been very excited to see happen for a while. So
Right.
I was always sad to see that it ended where it did, and it felt like there was very little in the way to getting it to all the way to Blackwell's Mills, other than that little bit of environmental stuff to deal with there with the wetland and the culvert.
Yep. I'll write Bob Vornlocker now. All right. Very good.
Okay.
Fabulous. That's really exciting to hear. Thank you.
Thanks for the update. As far as that's the last thing we have on the agenda, I guess the only other thing we talked about was the July 10th Firefly hike. Do we want to put any other trail hikes out there, or shall we save that for next month?
I just have a quick all right, go ahead, John. I just have a quick update.
Go ahead.
There was an Audubon walk on Saturday we saw, or they saw, the leaders saw 50 species. I got 30. But I mentioned that just that the group is limited by Audubon, but within that group, again, like our National Trails Day hike, there was a very diverse group, which was kind of unusual and nice to see, of different ages and backgrounds. So I just mentioned that because that's kind of like the first time I've seen it in one of those walks, and I think it bodes well. I was very encouraged. And then when I saw the same happen at the trails hike, it was a really great morning.
Very
Good.
nice.
Good.
John, did you have something you wanted to share?
I was going to say, Vornlocker supports the idea of the North-South Trail extension that we were just talking about. And Phil will fill you in on the details. I shouldn't explain things that he wants to talk to Vornlocker about first. But
Okay.
it looks really good, like it's going to be supported.
So this is the entirety of it, or specifically the Van Cleef piece that we were just
The Van
talking about?
Cleef
Cleef
piece.
piece and
Right.
That's awesome.
discussion about what happens next.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Good stuff.
John, is there anything else from open space that you wanted to share with us?
I don't have my notes with me, and it will take me 20 minutes to get up and
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, poor John.
sorry about
And
that.
then, all right, so
No,
I'm
it's all
gonna
right.
segue back to possible. Anybody want to put another date on the table for another trails led hike, or do you want to save that for August? I mean
Well,
July. I
we
mean
have
July.
our next meeting, if we're still planning to have it on the schedule, which as far as I know we are, is July 14th. So it'll be right after the Firefly Walk. So
Perfect.
maybe then we discuss then what we want to do for August. I mean, it's not giving people a ton of time, but
I just want to ask, are we doing a Franklin Day this year?
I would say almost definitely yes. It'll be September 18th. Location to be determined, most likely the municipal complex because of scheduling things. It's going to be a bit toned down from prior ones. We're hoping for not quite the crowd, but there will be some sort of Franklin Day, yes. And the fireworks are on.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay.
Will we have tables for that again as well?
For fireworks, so what council wanted was we didn't want any like bouncy house, and we didn't want food being served there. You can bring your own food. Again, we want to minimize contact between people. Having a table there is not such a terrible thing. It's not like you get hordes of people gathering around. Let me write that down and see.
Well, no pressure. Just curious.
Well, no, it's like the thing is you were trying to plan for we planned for something a month before it happens, and a month in COVID time is 30 years. I mean, things just change so quickly.
Yeah.
And our numbers are really down now. So things I was afraid to do 2 weeks ago are like, okay, maybe we could do that. So
Nice.
let me write that down.
So we're thinking also about a table for Franklin Day.
Yeah, that you should be able to do. That's done.
What about Canal
You
Fest?
got to go through the steps, but that will happen.
Is Canal Fest a possibility this year?
I don't think so. That's due to basically the organizers being
Yeah.
tired. I can see if I can gin that up again. What there is going to happen, I know you guys kind of signed off with a walk and roll thing, but on August 28th, we're going to do essentially walk and roll both the north side and the south side of Canal Road, not the part that the county owns, between, what is it, Bunker and Griggstown. And it's to celebrate I think it's the 240th, don't quote me on it, anniversary of Rochambeau's march down to Yorktown for the end of the Revolutionary War. There's going to be a bunch of bicyclists are going to meet at Colonial Park and ride down to, I don't know, Trenton, Princeton, I'm not sure where, but to commemorate part of it. Part of them, some of them will go on the Canal Path and some of them will go on Canal Road.
Great. All right, I think we've covered everything on our agenda. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn our meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second,
All right. So moved. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for all of your work and ideas and thinking and collaborating. And I'll see you, some of you at the Firefly hike and everyone else at our next meeting. Have a good night.
That's a-
Okay.
you did a
Oh,
great job.
thank you,
Good night.
Vanessa.
You're welcome. Hey, Chuck. Chuck, I
Yes.
know I recorded the meeting, but for some reason, like at the 30 minutes, it stopped recording. And so I had to start recording
Yeah.
again. So like right now I'm at an hour and 11 minutes. So I'm hoping that that first 20 minutes is still here somewhere, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, thanks. I have some rough notes here